Welcome to Valley Home Vibes, the podcast that's all about the sizzling hot real estate market right here in the Valley of the Sun. I'm your host, Gigi Campanile, joined by co-hosts Kevin Price, Lauren Abbottball, and Logan Brown. We're thrilled to have you join us today as we delve deep into the captivating world of real estate right here in Phoenix, Arizona. Today, we're going to be discussing future trends and developments in real estate, mortgage, and insurance. As we approach 2024, what can we expect in the new year? I want to go and lead off today since no one likes talking about mortgage and the number stuff. We might as well get it out of the way. I think the biggest issue consumers are going to be facing for 2024, concerning mortgage will be whether to refinance or not. Since rates have come down quite a bit these past few weeks, the dilemma will be whether to wait and see if the trend continues or if they should go ahead and refinance. So one of the main dilemma they're going to face is whether the interest rates have come down enough. So if you have, say, purchased in the past year or two, you're going to be squeezed in terms of how much equity you have in your home, how much room you have to refinance. So let's take the interest rate situation first. A good guideline for whether or not you should refinance after rates have gone down is, have they gone down by about 2%? 2% is generally when it's a good rule of thumb to go ahead and start looking at current refinance rates. And what rate are you then looking at, right? Because everybody's got different rates out there. And a lot of them aren't necessarily a good measure of what the average 30-year fixed rate is at. I would go out to like Mortgage News Daily, and you can get many rates, many indices and averages to see where the conventional rate is at, where the FHA and the VA rate is at. And that'll give you a good idea of where it sits relative to your current interest rate on your home. And the most important thing is really to talk to an LO or professional to see how this relates to your current situation, because they're going to be able to tell you yes or no is whether it's a good time to refinance or not. First is, are rates about 1.5%, 2% lower than your current rate? And do you have enough equity in your home? And your LO is probably going to measure that by, he'll call it LTV or loan to value. And so those are the two main things to look out for. So let's move on to the most important trend or issue facing, say, real estate in general. Logan, what are you seeing in the market?
Yeah, so I think as everybody knows who may be seasonal inside the housing market, they all know about the spring rush, right? So we all know that's going to be a swarm of buyers usually. Now, with interest rates coming down, for those buyers who may have been waiting on the sideline for the rates to come down, it's good news. It's going to come down, which means that more borrowers can qualify. I would say a strong suggestion would be getting in contact with your lender and your loan officer to get pre-approved. That shows sellers, you're ready and you're qualified. But also, with that being said, we are seeing low inventory as it is right now. So in 2024, when we get the spring rush, say in the first quarter, and then interest rates are dropped, it's going to be competitive. It's going to be a little bit more competitive for buyers. And a way to go about that is to talk to your real estate agent. Maybe there's some specific areas that aren't selling as much right now, because there's not too many bidding wars out there right now that I hear of. So getting in contact with your real estate agent to maybe start looking at some areas that are up and coming or a little slow so that you can avoid the bidding wars. And then also talking to your loan officer, get pre-approved, see what you can qualify for. We talked about refinances. That may be more of a selling point for the sellers to sell their home because they can get a lower interest rate where they're at. Because not everybody wants to stay in their home for so long. Staying agile, making sure that you are not set on a single home because offers may change. Then also maybe renting versus buying right now. So with rates coming down, maybe this is like during COVID where you're not qualified just yet. Maybe take that year and save up some more money, pay off some debts to prepare yourself for 2025. Because I do think that it's going to be a very competitive market in 2024 to get into homes.
Logan, do you think that the usual suspects in terms of buying power are still at the top of the list? For instance, Buckeye, Maricopa, and I think it's Levine, and has traditionally been cities where buyers have some power, right?
Yes, I would say I heard a lot of development going in Buckeye. If you're able to get in and that's the area you want to live in, I would definitely look into getting into that area, that house before the first quarter of next year, because I think it's going to be a very competitive market out there. A lot of home prices are jumping up because when interest rates come down, home prices go up and it gives the sellers more, makes it more of a seller's market. Levine is still growing and I don't see too many bidding wars out there from what I hear from real estate agents. So that's definitely a good area that's really growing. And you can maybe build the equity in your home out there. And then rent to own is always an option as well. And a good option is contacting those homes that have been on the market too long and maybe talking to the seller if they can get a rent to own option. Sellers may be more willing to do that since interest rates are dropping.
Okay. Laurent, the insurance industry has been facing tremendous change in the past year. What's the biggest issue home insurers are going to face in 2024?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of changes this year. As you all know, after COVID, unfortunately, not only we've had a lot of drivers back on the road, which ultimately gave a lot more claims, and that increased a lot of auto insurance premium. As far as the home insurance, so this past year has been a very bad catastrophic weather related, catastrophic just because of the amount of damage that it's done. We're talking over $1 billion in each areas. I've got a little map here I'd like to share for everyone. So this is going to give you actually from January 2023 through October 2023, some of the major climate disasters that we faced this year. Each one of those are costing insurance companies over $1 billion in claims, in damages. So even though Arizona is not so prompt into hurricanes and we don't see much hail damage, unfortunately, we are paying for other states as well. So that is affecting also Arizona that I've seen in our area.
Just while
Um,
you're saying, because basically it's lifting all boats. So even though Arizona is not marked out on this map,
right.
everything all put together is lifting premiums for everybody everywhere.
Exactly. Exactly.
One thing
Um,
I didn't expect to see though was usually I would expect the wildfires in California, but it's interesting you
right.
show flooding.
That's right. Flooding was actually, that's one of the major ones. Actually cost more than fire, interesting enough. Yeah, you can see it was pretty bad year for insurance companies, I would say. I know
Sure.
California got hit pretty hard. A lot of the major companies have stepped out of California. State Farm was one of them. They do not write there anymore, and many others. So it's a tough state. Um,
For a $500,000 home that's, let's say, about 2,500 square feet, typically my clients were getting quoted, it'll be roughly between $75 and $100 a month, right? And that's important for the purchase process because this affects whether they can
mhm.
qualify, right? Because
That's
it's
right.
part of the mortgage payment. So $75 to about $100, what I was seeing in, say, 2022 and early 2023. What are we going to be, what kind of premiums are we going to be
So
seeing in 2024?
So I always tell my lenders, depending of the age of the home, whenever it was built, if you're looking at a newer home, we'll be able to get you probably closer to 50, $60 a month. If we're looking at a older home, 1950s, 60s, now we're talking more in the probably say probably about $1,500 a year. So you're looking at $125 a month.
Okay.
I would say that would be a good mark. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
Kevin, let's let's hear from the pro, our resident veteran realtor. What do you see as the most important trend in real estate this coming year?
I appreciate that. Thank you, GT. One of the major issues we had to finish off the year was commissions. Who pays the commissions? Are they negotiable? Is there conspiracies behind commissions? There's a couple lawsuits that took place. They're still finalizing those judgments right now. But the short and sweet of it is generally the home seller gets with the listing agent and they agree to a commission price. And then also in that agreement, the listing agent and the home seller agrees how much they're going to give to the home buyer's agent also. It's complicated when you say it like that, but the home seller, let's just say, agrees to 5%. And then out of that 5%, generally it's split 50-50, 50% to the listing agent, 50% to the buyer's agent. And that's been a big issue that's been going on. Like I said, in the lawsuits, they were saying that there was conspiracies and there was price fixing. It was a mess. But just like anything in a transaction, even the commissions are negotiable. So if a home seller isn't aware about the commission and how it's going to get split and where is it going, personally, I fault the agent for not making that clear to their client. And the same thing with the buyer. The buyer is also needing to be informed as to how all this works out, because it may come to the point where listing home sellers don't want to provide a split to the buyer's agent, and then the home buyers will have to find a way to pay their agent whatever agreement they have to work with them. So generally
They
it's
say this
been,
is going to play out over the next. So how do you think this will play out right in the courts? Because I've heard at worst case scenario, we start seeing people make moves right now. And it's potentially buyers will have to start paying for their buyer's agents. Either I could pay them an hourly rate, they'll pay them a flat rate, or they'll pay them a percentage or something like that upfront. Or the, I guess, best case scenario out of this whole mess is that it works its way through the courts and appeals and everything else, and it takes 2 or 3 years before we even see anything.
yeah, there's a lot of different thoughts on it. On pretty much everything you said could be a possibility. We all know appeals take forever. And before the appeals are even finalized, I imagine a lot of these bigger brokers are going to put something in place to where there is no confusion, there's no questions. It's going to be flat right in front, and everybody's going to sign it, and everybody's going to be aware of whatever the agreement is that they deem necessary. It could be anything from the sellers could be providing commissions. Maybe they have an agreement with the buyers to provide that money to the sellers to pay the commission for their agents. So there's a lot of different ways this money can still get split up, or the sellers could just come out of pocket, have an hourly agreement, a flat rate fee. There's a lot of different ways this could go down. I do feel the appeals will take a very long time. And by the end of the day, we may not even see anything groundbreaking because it's already going to be put in place before we get to that time. Everybody's going to plan ahead, so to say.
So that's our 2024 kind of predictions and what we think are the major issues and developments. If you have any questions about buying or selling your home in today's Phoenix market, please feel free to reach out to us. If you have any mortgage or insurance questions, you can also reach out to us as well using the links below. Lastly, please don't forget to click the like button and subscribe. This is GT signing off from Valley Home Vibes. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Hey,
Everyone.
it's Kevin Price. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good Christmas, everyone.